Well, good Monday to you, Tennessee Valley. It is the first Monday of February. Of course, yesterday we had a high of 67 in Chattanooga. Great day. And we are 45 days until spring, but this week is going to feel a lot more like spring than wintertime. Of course, February, you get a little bit of everything: snow, sleet, rain, warm weather, cold weather. But this week it's all going to be about the warm weather. And today, after a chilly start, we're going to climb into the upper 60s to lower 70s. 72 in Chattanooga today, 69 in Dayton, and the rest of our area, again, even Tellico Plains going to be in the 70s today, 66 in Andrews, 68 in Turtletown. Across North Georgia, generally going to be in the mid to upper 60s to lower 70s, just depending on where you're at. And then Northeast Alabama, low to mid 70s. So it's going to be a very warm day. And of course, here in Chattanooga, these are your averages. Again, taken from Level Field, which is our official reporting station. The first of the month, our average high 53, average low 33. By the end of the month, it's 59 and 39. So temperatures are starting to warm up. Again, the coldest air is behind, or at least climatologically speaking, our coldest period is behind us. But it is still very much a winter month, and we can get snow, we can get winter weather. But again, the short term, we are looking at warmer conditions here across the Tennessee Valley. It is going to be dry today, but we will have some rain chances coming back into the picture beginning on Wednesday. So we're going to have this weak little disturbance move through. Again, today and tomorrow are going to be nice and dry. But by Wednesday morning into the afternoon, we're going to have some rain kind of sliding across parts of southeast Tennessee. Best chance will be north of I-40, but I think if you're north of the Tennessee state line, you have at least a chance of a few sprinkles on Wednesday. Wednesday shouldn't be a big rainmaker, but then Thursday there's going to be a cold front coming through, and that's going to give us a little more rain. Coverage is going to be higher at least. Not going to be heavy. I don't think we're going to have any severe weather. There could be enough instability if we get enough sunshine throughout the day peeking through the clouds for some thunderstorms, maybe some heavier rain, but again, shouldn't be a huge deal. And then this moves out by the time we get into Friday morning. So here's a look at your rainfall over the next 7 days. Again, I'm going to show you the drought monitor out after this because it has been bone dry. Up to an inch certainly going to be possible in places like Dunlap, Athens, Cleveland, Chattanooga, and up to half an inch across North Georgia. So where you have the blues, you notice there's going to be less rain. And the further south you go, pretty much get out of the rain, with the higher amounts setting up across Virginia, West Virginia, parts of Kentucky, and really north of I-40 that runs from Nashville to Knoxville up through parts of the Smokies. Higher amounts. So again, we're going to have a little bit of rain, but it's not going to be anything that's going to bust this drought. And we need some drought busting rain because we are now dealing with an extreme drought in red. And that includes parts of Bradley, Hamilton, Ray, Meigs, Bledsoe, McMinn, Monroe counties up through I-40. Severe drought in the orange includes the plateau up through Hamilton County all the way into Middle Tennessee, and a moderate drought from Chattanooga south into northeast Alabama, abnormally dry for parts of North Georgia. So we need the rain. It's been very dry. Don't have a whole lot on the way, but there will be a couple of chances, I think, late Wednesday into Thursday, and then again maybe Saturday night into your Sunday. Again, I'm not expecting any given day being a washout, but there certainly will be some rain chances moving forward. But the big story, or at least the big thing I want to talk about, is this warmth and how long it's going to stick around. So the next 7 days, if you're a warm weather fan, you're going to love this. This is for one single point in Chattanooga, so some of you may be a little bit warmer, some a little bit colder. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple days we at least get close to record highs. I think our record for the month of February is 82, and that was set back in 23, which was only 2 years ago. So it can occasionally get that warm. It's unusual, but it happens from time to time. Again, 70s in February, nothing uncommon, but for this prolonged period of time, you usually don't see that. So going to be a warm week ahead. Even our overnight lows and morning temperatures are going to be much warmer. So we'll start tomorrow with upper 40s, and then the rest of the week we're going to start our day with temperatures in the 50s. So warmer weather on the way. That is going to be the trend moving forward. And as we look at your 6 to 10 day temperature trend, the red indicating a better chance of seeing above normal temperatures. So we're still going to have some good ridging across the southeast, getting some of that flow from the South Pacific, with colder air starting to settle in across portions of the Pacific Northwest. And in between this is where you're going to have more of an active storm track. So there's likely going to be some winter storms moving across parts of the Rockies, the northern tier of the country, and even the Northeast. This would be a favorable pattern for New York City, Boston, and parts of Maine to get some pretty good snow. But look what happens to the 8 to 14 day temperature trend. that colder air or below normal air starts to work a little further down into parts of the southeast. Still looks like we're going to be a little bit warmer than normal, at least initially, but I think that cold air is going to eventually make it this far south. It just depends on how quickly that ridge flattens out. So we'll take a look over the next couple of weeks here in February. So we'll start with the 5th. You have the blues, which indicates troughing and colder air kind of situated in the Pacific Northwest, well above normal temperatures with strong ridging starting to develop across the southeast. This will be Wednesday of this week, and you can see that little dot. That's where Chattanooga is located. And you can see Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. So going to be pretty warm through the middle of the week. And then February 11th, which will take us into early next week, that ridge starts to flatten out a little bit, and it looks like that coldest air is starting to dive further to the south. Still going to be mild here, but we're starting to see things change a little bit. That ridging breaks down, and we start to see more of an influence of cold air trying to work in. And then look what happens by February 18th. Starts to trend a little bit colder, so that ridge flattens out, and that cold air starts to dive a little further to the south. That doesn't mean we're going to have temperatures highs in the 20s like we did back in January. It just means that we're going to have a better chance of seeing below normal temperatures. How cold will it get? That remains unseen, but that just shows you the progression of this pattern. So we'll step through it again. Notice the 5th, well above normal where you see the red. Then we start to see changes by the 11th and the 18th. Those changes take place and become kind of full circle back to the colder air. So it does look like, we are going to see a pattern transition here over the next couple of weeks. Short term warm, and then medium term we start to see those changes, and then longer term maybe some colder air. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. But here's a look at your temperature trend. This was the latest European that came out this morning. Notice upper 60s. I think we'll be in the lower 70s most days, but it at least gives us a baseline of what to expect. Mid 70s Saturday, and then Sunday's kind of the turning point. And then notice next week we start to cool down a little bit. Highs potentially in the 40s, maybe some overnight lows before 30s are in the 30s. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have a major Arctic blast. It just means we're going to get colder than what we're dealing with. But it's definitely something worth noting. We'll see how things play out around February 11th and 12th and see what the rest of the month looks like. But it does look like we could have some winter weather trying to come back into the picture as we move into that second week of February, especially towards the end of the week. Now, this is the probability of 1 inch of snowfall through Valentine's Day. This is the GFS ensemble, so a bunch of GFS runs coming together. Really nothing. Mainly the chance would be north of I-40, parts of the Ohio Valley. So the chances would be increasing, but the European has that a little further to the south. 20 to 30% chance of an inch of snow or more through Valentine's Day for much of North Alabama, North Georgia, parts of the Carolinas, and most of Tennessee. And the Northeast, pretty good chance of seeing some good snow between now and the middle of the month. So we'll have to watch that closely. I've noticed a couple of deterministic models floating around. Yesterday, I think the European had us getting several inches of snow across the Tennessee Valley. It's still too far to determine if we're actually going to get winter weather, but it at least looks like there could be some sort of a chance as we move towards the middle of the month. Definitely not set in stone. Again, these trends are just, they can change. So drop of a hat. If that cold air doesn't make it this far to the south, we could stay warm a lot longer. It's going to depend on how quickly that ridge that's kind of keeping that warm air trapped here in the southeast flattens out, and how strong that cold air is and how quickly it can try to push in. Because I have, in the past we've had scenarios where the cold air kind of gets hung up to our west. I remember in February 21, that cold air kind of stayed into Texas, Oklahoma, and parts of the northern part of the country and didn't quite make it this far to the east. So that's another thing we'll have to watch pretty closely. But it does look like changes are on the way. But like I mentioned earlier, in the short term, it's going to be more about the warmer weather. We're going to have temperatures in the 70s pretty much all week long. Rain chances maybe on Wednesday, better chance on Thursday, maybe even some thunderstorms, and then Friday and Saturday, sprinkle or two possible, but I think we'll be generally dry those 2 days with another chance of rain Sunday as another front comes through. And then next week is when we could have some colder temperatures. So that's just kind of a general overview of what you can expect. We're going to have some changes coming our way at some point, but for now, enjoy the warm weather and have a fantastic start to your week.